online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Welcome back, AfterBuzzers. Back to Manhattan AfterBuzz TV After Show. Tonight, we are doing episode World of Tomorrow and episode 33. I'm your host, Marisa Serafini. You can follow me on Twitter at Serafini TV. Joining me, I have...
Hi, I'm Alina Vision. You can follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at Alina Vision.
Yes, we are back. Bobby is still not back.
Aww.
We can give him crap about it later.
And we will.
But sure enough, it's the woman holding down the fort, just like the woman holding down the fort at Manhattan.
Exactly.
Manhattan Project. Okay, so really quickly, what were your thoughts about both episodes?
Okay, last week's episode I liked that it was more about personal relationships. I liked that. But what I really liked this week is we kind of got back into the science.
Yes.
And kind of got to nerd and geek out on that. And that's what I really liked about this week's show.
That's always fun. I always love nerding out.
Yeah.
As you said, yes, it really did get personal and then get really, really scientific. What I liked about it is that the whole first episode, World of Tomorrow, moved the story forward physically and just storyline, and also in the year progressed a lot of things. Even though we were going back and forth with a lot of flashbacks, we still got where we are in the historic timeline and how things came to be. The politics behind everything we'll definitely get into, and then especially tonight's episode 33, just a lot of more politics going on and actual historic events going down. So we'll really quickly recap the World of Tomorrow. So sorry we couldn't do it last week, scheduling and whatnot, but we're here.
Yes.
World of Tomorrow, we'll go over the highlights. In World of Tomorrow, we had a new character, Loretson, who in a way seemed like the nicer Fisher.
Exactly.
Still interrogating, but in a more empathetic way, trying and getting answers out of that way, more as building up friendships and that type of camaraderie, rather than I'm going to threaten you because I work for the U.S. government.
Exactly. I think that was a good strategy on his part, because he was able to get a little bit more information than just hardcore interrogating that. Yeah, so what did you think of Loretson? Did you think he got a lot of good answers that the audience already knew, or things we didn't know? Goodness, I have to remember back to last week. From what I remember, I think from what the characters were telling him was a lot of the stuff we already kind of knew. He was fishing around for new information, and a lot of Frank information, definitely. Like, that's what his main goal was. You could kind of tell was Frank.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think Loretson was pretty much the voice of the audience and asking all the questions that we, the watchers, were wondering. Like, what the heck is Frank doing back now that he's back on the Hill? Why is Darrow now making him a private whatsoever? And we slowly got the answers through all these flashbacks. They went from the summer of 1944 when Frank came back, to the winter, to New Year's, back to the summer. It was back and forth. It was a lot of flashbacks, and it was interesting to keep up, but we definitely got the answers. Overall, we got the answers that Frank pretty much pissed off all the wrong people he possibly came in contact, especially the government, especially Colonel Darrow. And Colonel Darrow pretty much benched him. It's like, I'm a colonel, you're gonna enlist, or you're gonna be sent back to prison.
Exactly.
Like, and you just got out of a prison.
You choose.
So you're gonna actually go to a real prison because of all the actions you went about doing.
Right.
So he's a private, still under the eye of Darrow, but Darrow's keeping him close. Because during all these flashbacks, we see Frank still talking to his team implosion, getting some answers here and there. And he's still really learning the equations. They're figuring out the whole uranium problem, quote unquote, which they kept saying. What do we think of this? Do you think this is actually a smart plan of Darrow?
I think it's just a smart plan to have Frank on the hill. And I think Darrow kind of knows that, because it could, it's the backup plan to team implosion. You always got to have a backup plan. Yeah. So I think it was a good on his part, because he knew Frank can't keep himself away from the science and his team, and
he's just passionate.
Exactly.
So he's going to, even though he's in probably the lowliest position that you can be in the Army, just being a small private, that he still knows all the science. He's still close to the operations and whatnot, so he's learning. I think it's smart on Darrow, but also it's just the way Darrow's going about it, and just keeps like, no, you are my dog. I had the leash on you,
and he can't even see his wife.
No,
like hardcore,
and to the point where it's like Frank is seeing his wife at night. Granted, it's nothing nefarious or whatever. It's just easy, quick visits to see his wife, and then that even pisses off Darrow more, and sends Dunleavy off, because Dunleavy's the one that helped get Frank and Liza back together, and he sent Dunleavy to the Pacific, the most bloodiest place, Saipan.
Yeah.
Saipan was a very, very violent area in World War II. But unfortunately, Dunleavy dies.
Yeah.
Did we see this? I
saw that coming. Yeah, I saw that coming.
As
soon as I found out, that he was going to get shipped off there, I was like, oh, that's the end of that character.
I felt so bad, because it wasn't just Dunleavy; it was other men sent. But I knew it wasn't going to be a good end, especially because Dunleavy, he's never really given us a reason to dislike him. He's always been the meek guy, but he's there to help. And the fact that he helped Liza and Frank be reunited, that I guess that just pissed off Darrow.
Yeah.
Be like, no, I'm going to send you to the most bloodiest place in the world right now, and you're going to die.
See what happens.
Unfortunate. Dunleavy dies, so it rocks Frank and Liza emotionally.
Yeah.
So, unfortunate. Rest in peace, Dunleavy. And then also during this flashbacks, Laretson talks to Paul Crosley, and again asking all the questions the audience are asking Paul. You're the only Briton around here. Why are you still working with Americans and dealing with all these politics and still being on Team Implosion when you're still not being part of the bigger plan here?
Right.
And he talks to his other British friend. I can't remember his name. Let us know.
Yes.
But pretty
Tweet
much,
us. Let us know.
Yeah, pretty much during the whole flashback, there was pretty much just telling the audience that, reminding us that Paul abandoned his family.
Right.
He abandoned his child to be on the Manhattan Project, get away from the world. He ran away from his father also, I believe. And he wants to just stick with this project, Manhattan Project, come out the better man at the end. Like, he's committed, and he did something good in the world, actually being part of something grand, such as Manhattan Project. And I was like, that's a good perspective to have on it. Go back to your home country, doing something, having a big accomplishment.
Right, exactly. And go be a good dad.
Yeah. What did you think of this for Paul, for this type of storyline for Paul?
I think it showed kind of a difference in his character. Now that he's doing the whole Site Y or Site X?
Site X.
Site X, yeah, Site X thing.
Liaison for Site X.
Yeah, he's kind of a more suave guy than he was before, I feel. I don't know. His whole kind of demeanor and appearance has changed.
I like how Paul's telling off anybody he wants to, and somehow he gets promoted.
Yeah, exactly, right?
He's getting away with it.
He always just wants to go do his own thing, and he gets promoted. So, yeah, I like that. I like that for his character.
Yeah. And then and pretty much with Charlie, the whole story for him in episode World of Tomorrow, he's still working on getting property and land to actually do the bomb testing.
Right.
So which didn't really move the needle forward for that particular storyline in that episode, but we're getting closer in episode 33. One more thing about the first episode. We saw Lazar. Lazar came back, which is good. He's the guy from season 1 that helped get give Frank the uranium/plutonium when Frank couldn't, and the government wouldn't allow that. He went to Lazar. So it was fun seeing Lazar come back. All right, so let's get into tonight's episode 33. A lot happened.
A lot
exciting thing happened. Overall, what were your quick thoughts of just tonight's episode?
I liked it, like I said before, because of the fact that it got a little bit more into the science aspect of things. I feel like the rest of the season prior to this had been a lot about the personal relationships.
Yes.
And I was just like, okay, I get it, but I want to get into the science. Like, that's what the show is about. And I liked kind of everything about it. What about you?
I really liked this episode. Frank got a big storyline, as he should in every episode. Right. But Frank really just got into the heads of the audience, spoke for the scientists, spoke for the audience itself. And so let's get into Frank. Again, he's still a private, but he pissing off the wrong people. He also pissed off Charlie.
Yeah.
Don't piss off Charlie. And so there's this big man, Vannevar Bush, coming to the Hill. No one's supposed to know about it, but he's the FDR science advisor, which he's actually based on a real person. He was part of the whole FDR/Hoover presidential candidacy when Manhattan Project was going on. So we learned that Vannevar Bush is coming to do reviews of the testing. They're still not in the position that they want. They realize the German bomb is nothing, that they were feeding the information back just to chasing their tails, so Frank says. I really like that. Historical, in a way accurate.
Right.
So
I like that one. It's historically accurate.
Definitely historically accurate. So Vannevar comes back, and of course Frank wants to get in on this. And he's like, hey, you know what? Put my name in the hat, because... Well, also, we see at the top of the episode, Helen's talking to her team saying, hey, now we're building this bomb, but we, the scientists who are actually building this bomb, have no say on where we get to use it and how it's being used. And something's wrong there, and something is wrong.
And I think I'm glad that the scientists finally have a voice now, or they're trying to have a voice, because it's a huge deal to drop an atomic bomb, you know, that type of energy on innocent people. And I do think that they should have a seat at the table to see.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so go scientists.
Go scientists. Yay, science. Yes, the committee. That's what Vannevar is also helping head up, the committee. What was it? Something...
I think it's the interim...
The Target Committee.
Target Committee.
Pretty much the committee that has the final say of where and how they use the bomb. Vannevar is on it. So Frank, being sidelined by Charlie, because he pissed him off, he's now into the desert. And there's this plutonium ball that they have to help contain, because it's decaying and it can literally blow up at any second.
Very unstable.
So Frank is put on this fun project because everyone else who's trying to contain it within the metallic walls that they used, some scientific material, metal blocks to help contain this plutonium ball. They're all maxed out for the month. Like, they've reached their limit of exposure to plutonium, which, again, I did like the scientific aspect of it, too. You're like, all right, Frank, because you can't be on the committee, you can't be around with Vannevar, we're going to have you on this deadly project.
Exactly. It's just so crazy. I liked this episode that you actually saw how, I guess in hindsight for us, we know how, you know, radioactive material works and its effects on the body, and just to like see, they didn't really know because there hadn't been any tests before that, and testing the limits.
It's just crazy seeing Frank being really motivated and putting these walls together, these metal bricks together. He's just so motivated to get out of there. He just wants as much exposure just so he can get out. I was like, I get it. There's no pressure, like protection around him. I was like, okay, this is the 40s. They don't have the technology that they have. But I liked his motivation of just getting out there. He's like, I don't care. I can die right now, but I'm getting out of here. But he successfully gets it to the 97%, I guess, covered, which is good enough to go home really fast, and that gives him pretty much the courage to write up the petition. Well, he's already starting to write this petition to the scientists that he has them all write their names on. What did we think of this whole petition?
Ooh. At first, I got it. I was like, okay, he's trying to get, all the scientists behind him. But then when Meeks was talking to his lady friend, I was like, oh, makes a lot of sense. Yeah, don't.
Sneaky.
Yeah, don't be signing that. Because
Nora.
Yeah, Nora.
I had to think of her name. Nora. They never say it because she's also a spy.
Yeah, they never really say her name.
Nora.
But yeah, then it totally dawns. You don't want to have your name on that petition, especially when Darrow was calling. Hoover right after that.
It's really smart that Frank put two and two together. It's like, hey, this is a moral thing that we're doing.
Right.
But Dar's going to use this against this and put this as a blacklist.
Because he was so easy to be like, you know what? Yeah, let everyone sign it.
It's like Dumbledore's army, sure.
Exactly.
But back in the 1945.
Yeah.
What I liked about the historical accuracy of this is there was a petition back in 1945 after Leo, I'm going to butcher his last name, I'm sorry, Szilard. He actually put a petition together covering the same things that there were, all the words about the scientists need to say and who and how they use the bomb.
Absolutely.
But that petition was actually drafted on July 17th, 1945, whereas we know in the particular show right now, they're in the spring, April of 1945, so a little bit earlier, and Leo's petition has 69 co-signers instead.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I think they probably took inspiration from just having real petitions and put it into this for dramatic purposes.
Another historical thing that happened was, how Frank was doing the critical mass. Yeah, that actually happened, and there were some people who actually got a little bit too much radiation,
Little too much.
Yeah, but it did happen. So I appreciated the fact that the show took in historical consideration for that stuff.
And I liked how they took this historical critical situation and brought Liza into the project.
Yes, yay! Finally.
Because Fritz brings up the good points, like, hey, everyone's getting exposed. We need someone to just check our medical records pretty much just to make sure and keep check up on us to make sure we don't die. Very, very reasonable situation. And they but of course, who's the one who has authorization over that? Darrow. So you have to go to Darrow. What do we think of bringing Liza into this, though?
I thought it was good. I loved it when she just marched into Darrow's office and pretty much schooled him on what exactly could happen if, all this stuff just could go awry. And there did need to be testing on the effects of the scientists and the environment and just people in general. So I was happy that she came back.
So happy. Finally put her to use, put her science and medical history to use. But I also liked how she just got under Darrow's skin to be like, hey, this will also affect you because it's literally 20 yards from you.
And you're sitting right there.
It's happening in this building. But your building's right next to it, so something goes wrong, you and your staff are going to be affected. So I liked how she went in that way. So smart. So smart, Liza. Love you. You're amazing. Darrow had a lot of interactions with a lot of people. Of course, he's all over the episode. What did you think of his interaction with Abby?
I thought it was so strange.
It was uncomfortable strange.
Yes, it was uncomfortable. I was actually watching it with my husband, and he said, wow, it's a long silence. It's kind of awkward.
It was.
It was very, very awkward and weird. He kind of creeped me out. I don't know, if for some reason, he's just a creepy guy to me. But, his whole exchange with Abby, even you could tell in her face, she was like, this is just weird.
Right. Because we see Dara and Abby praying on their knees. Because we see every episode, Dara always brings up a religious aspect. He's a faithful man.
Right.
Man of religion. And we see him talking tonight. It's like, you have to have faith in all this. And actually physically getting down on the knees and praying for a minute, to the point where it's uncomfortable just to watch.
There is so much dead air.
I haven't prayed that hard on my knees since like praying for a snow day.
Right, exactly.
I loved Abby's reaction and all that. It's like, I think anyone thrown into that situation would be like, what's going on? I don't know if I should pray.
For real?
Take this guy seriously. Is this guy mental?
Yeah. Especially because she's so used to being around a whole bunch of scientists who,
defy religion practically every single day.
Exactly.
Interesting reaction. Okay. Which, I mean, getting into Abby, we see her manning the operation switchboard again, but hearing Crosley on the other line.
She loves that switchboard.
Line 135. What do we think of Crosley's, Paul's scheduled calls?
Right.
Flirting with Constance.
Right.
Does Constance have a thing in all this, or is she just getting flirty?
I think she does.
Interesting.
I just want to know, and we were talking about this prior to coming on air, what is the machine that he's hooking up? Is it a phone line to, or, because it's a typewriter typing, so.
It's an actual typewriter.
And it's typing actual words. So it's not, I don't think it's Morse code.
No,
I wouldn't,
it's not.
Because
Morse code, it's all dots and dashes.
Right, exactly. And that's,
I want to say visual. Maybe they have a transcriber on the other end. That's my
What do you guys think out there? Let us know.
1940s technology, we don't know. Which is very interesting. I think maybe Crosley's relaying information back to Britain.
I think so too.
England.
Yeah.
We know Britain is an ally,
but everyone wants the goods.
Going back from, World of Tomorrow's episode, I think Paulsley also is in it for himself, too.
Yeah.
So, not that he's relaying secret information. Maybe he is.
Maybe he is.
Or maybe he's just trying to, protect himself.
On one of those letters that he was typing out, I saw something that said either plutonium or uranium enrichment. So, I didn't know if he was typing that back to Site X or if it was going to England. I think it was going to England.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Something secretive, something that's every single day. So it's a regular, constant thing. Constant with Constance. Should be interesting. I think we'll get more into that. Maybe that'll be in predictions.
Right.
But Abby hears all this, goes to Dara, and hence has the awkward praying moment. But what do we think of Abby being the little spy herself?
She is. She's just in everyone's business.
Everyone's business.
She just does not learn.
No, listening in on the conversation, going to Paul's, house? Or just
bumping it, coincidentally bumping into him.
It's like, so you know Constance.
Yeah.
She's
she knows
being
what
a little
she's
detective.
Doing. Yeah.
She knows too much.
She does.
Don't trust her at the operating switchboard.
Yeah, no kidding. But she's getting all the goods on everyone. Goodness.
She is.
And she went straight to Dara with that info.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did you think about that? Did you expect her to go straight to Dara? Because I don't even think she didn't tell Charlie, did she?
No.
Yeah.
No, she didn't. She just went to Dara. I think, again, because we see all these episodes where Abby wants Charlie to be, the leader of everything.
Right, yeah.
And pretty much not have Dara's in charge. But I think that might have been another way to eliminate everyone who could be a potential spy, anyone who could get in the way, cause problems.
Right.
Just so Charlie can be on top.
Right.
So it might have been for her personal gain. If we do think she's a spy, because we predicted she is.
Right.
Or if she's in it to help keep Charlie on top. Maybe.
Interesting.
So many things.
I know.
So many things. But yeah, what a little spy she is. And then we also get the Fisher. Fisher comes back. Hauntingly, we got the two fishermen at the beginning, and we finally get Fisher's car out of that pond.
Yeah.
But we didn't get a lot of reveal about Fisher's car. Just the fact that it's been revealed. The car's back. I don't think they ID'd as Fisher's car yet, other than his glasses.
Right. No, I think they did figure out that it was him, because weren't the two guys that led Frank off of the hill said something about, they didn't say Fisher himself, but they said it's the Spook's car.
Oh, right.
Right, so I think everyone kind of called Fisher that.
Right. And then when Frank's out in the desert, he's getting spooked.
Exactly.
By Fisher. What do we think of Fisher's, taunting in a way? It felt like Sid Lau from season 1 when he died and Sid came back and was in
Frank's head.
What do you think of Fisher now coming back and getting back into Frank's head?
Kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought so too.
But he was able to, or Frank was able to figure out that the petition that everyone was signing through, talking with Fisher, Ghost Fisher, was actually, a blacklist. So Frank tends to talk to people in his head a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And which is very worrisome, because Frank is supposed to be the biggest genius out of everyone, and yet people are talking to him in his head. He's imagining things.
He's good about keeping it under wraps, though. Like, he doesn't talk to other people in his head when other people are around. So, yeah.
Still crazy, but in a good way. Maybe.
Exactly.
So that pretty much brings Frank back to all of this. He gets the courage to talk to the whole group.
Yeah.
And be like, hey, if this is all the information that I'm telling you, ignorance is not an option anymore, because you now know what's happening, that we don't get a say. We're petitioning to get onto the target committee, so we do officially get a say to say where we get the use in the bomb. And if you ignore this and be purposely ignorant, that's on you.
Right.
Because you can't just walk away and turn the other cheek.
Exactly.
What do you think of Frank during this? Because at the beginning of the season, everyone's against him. Or even the end of season 1, everyone slowly turns against him. And now they want to follow him.
Well, I think because of the message that he's spreading, I mean, if you're a human being and you know what you're about to do and you have any type of conscience, then I think you're going to listen to him, because it is a big decision and they should have that say. So even though he even said, even though I know I burned most of the bridges in here, like, just listen to this, and have a voice and have a say. So I was glad actually to see the scientists leaving with him.
I really enjoy this, especially coming from when everyone's so trained and conditioned to think one way. It's like, we're here to make a bomb. We don't care what it's for, or like we're just here for the science, and this is our job. We're being paid to do this. And now we have to realize the effects of what we're doing. And I liked how Frank went in that way. That whole mentality is like, you're affecting 30 to 50,000 people, innocent lives. As we know, it turns into the atomic bomb. I really like that. And then when he walks out, all the scientists are there. But we get the unfortunate news that FDR passes away.
Yeah.
Historically accurate.
Exactly.
Because he actually passed away
April 12th.
April 12th, 1945.
Yeah.
And I did like how they bring Harry S. Truman into that, too, because even on the radio recording that they all hear, that Harry S. Truman was then sworn into that, I believe, that day.
Right.
Historically accurate.
Yes. Yay! Yay! We like that.
All coming back.
Exactly. So now what do you think is going to happen? Because Frank knew that, what's his name? Vannevar Bush. Vannevar, that's a hard name.
Yeah.
Vannevar Bush was close personal friends, obviously, with FDR. Now that Truman's in the mix, do you think Frank maybe thinks he doesn't know what's going to happen with this whole, like,
plan?
Scientist plan? Yeah.
I think so. I think this will definitely rock his boat. I mean, we can, in a way, get into predictions.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And now, your AFTERBUZZ TV predictions.
All right. Yeah, going off of that, I think Frank now knowing FDR has passed also affects the relationship with Oppenheimer, because Oppenheimer had a great relationship with FDR, not Harry S. Truman, because historically, the Manhattan Project was so secret that Harry S. Truman didn't even know until 2 weeks later. Yeah. He was debriefed literally 2 weeks later after he was sworn in. That's how secret it was. Like, FDR didn't even tell him. I think that will just change the whole relationship and how this project will be executed now that they have to go under someone else's command.
Right.
And I think that just goes with historical accuracy, that things change. They have to... The end goal is still the same, but the way going about it has changed.
Right.
I think Colonel Darrow, he might change positions, like someone else is going to take him out.
Okay.
I think that'd be great, and maybe put Frank, he's no longer private, and actually make him part of the group again.
Okay.
And Helen is now officially part of the group, too, because Helen and Charlie work out their ish.
Right.
It was like, yes, it was personal problems. Please, we need you. You're a woman who's smarter than I am. Admit it, Charlie.
No kidding.
Be on the group. What do you think?
I think that, you know how in the first episode of this season, we saw that they were at the Trinity test site, and the colonel said, I think it was the colonel, someone said to make sure that Frank does not come.
Yeah.
So I think what's going to happen is Frank is still going to be kind of gung-ho on this whole, like, scientists need a seat at the table thing. And I think he's going to take it, like, a step further and be like, we shouldn't drop the bomb. We shouldn't do this. It's immoral. And I think that's why they keep him off of the test site. Like, they think he's going to try to completely...
Take over?
Yeah. Well, not take over, but just make sure that the bomb never goes off, that, you know...
Yeah. Well, they're still figuring out this quote-unquote uranium problem.
Exactly.
That Frank apparently is the only one who knows. Because we did see in episode World of Tomorrow, he's figured out the math.
Yeah.
And he slipped it on Oppenheimer's desk. We didn't see Oppenheimer in both episodes. So that Frank already has the answers. It's just those who have to not be stubborn enough, Darrow. I'm looking at you. To actually listen and actually move the bomb forward and move the story forward and actually execute the bomb. It's just frustrating that the whole bureaucratic system and all of this, that just is people who don't want to be put into their place and slowing things down.
It's egos.
It is.
It's egos. It's crazy. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but the president's dead, and I liked how they did get into the historical accuracy.
Yes, I want to see more of, like, the historical accuracy. Definitely. Because I think that's why I first started watching the show, because I was like, oh, this will be cool. You know, I totally love history. And when some things are kind of off, but I love it when it's on. When it's on, it's on.
Absolutely.
And I like it. Yeah.
What do we think of... Sorry, I was
it's all good.
reading this notes. Because... now that this petition is kind of in effect, but we see Frank burn the paper. Do you think they'll actually get a say in what happens? Do you think they'll keep on that historical train?
I don't know. I hope they, like, keep on the historical train, but who knows? What do you think?
I want to say it's just going to fizzle.
Yeah.
And for, like, all that, we got the rallying, but we got the consciousness within the scientists now.
Right.
And we also learn how, again, with the historical accuracy, how Thin Man now became Little Boy.
Right.
So now we're in the new project. I think that's as much historical accuracy we'll get for tonight's episode. I think that's just going to fizzle out.
Yeah, I kind of have a feeling it might lose their voice too, because just the way the episode ended, like, they didn't even get to say their voice.
Yeah.
And it just
like, nope, we were on such a high. But again,
we're marching in, and
we thought we were going to have a say, but again, like, keeping them back, holding just the story back, so it keeps... So now we're in April 1944. We know the bombs drop in August of 1945. So we still have the whole summer to get through.
Right.
Do you think they'll keep going back with flashbacks or maybe flash forwards?
I think more probably flash forwards than flashbacks now, because this is, 2 episodes that we've been in 1945 now?
Yeah.
So I think we're kind of done with
the past
for the most part, unless it's to reveal some sort of character backstory of some sort. But I think I think we're going forward from here on out.
It's
moving really quickly.
So much. We got a lot.
Yeah, I mean we're almost there.
But yet we still haven't had any tests. I think the only explosion we saw in these 2 episodes were the Lazar tests.
Right.
There was like 2 explosions that felt like they were being shot at. But again, no actual physical explosion. This is like 2.5 seasons in. We haven't seen anything.
Yeah.
It's like, get over your politics and just get on with the story. Love the show, but like show us something. So for previews, we see Jim Meeks. Meeks, maybe he's getting shooken up because people might be onto him.
Yeah.
Do you think he'll be revealed in the next episode?
I hope so.
I
really hope he will. I think it'll add a little bit more drama and all of that to the episode. I think he will. I think he'll get revealed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting, because also in...
or at least really close.
Really close.
Yeah.
Like, he'll slip away.
Right.
With something. I liked in 33 episode that there's the whole theater play going on. All these thespians, and Meeks has to sing.
And
the Mikado, which is actually a big, famous Japanese play, especially during the 40s at that particular time. But the character Meeks has to play is Coco, who, ironically, is sentenced to be executed for mingling for adultery, I believe.
Interesting.
Coco was sentenced to be executed for having an affair or like relationships, flirting with someone he shouldn't have been. It's like, so this kind of reflects Meeks just like flirting with danger. The irony.
Exactly.
I see it. What do we think of the actual number 33? What do you think the relevance was of that? 33 signatures?
Maybe.
Oh, the petition?
I thought maybe it had to... Possibly. What do you think?
I thought it was how it ended on the 33rd president.
That's...
with FDR now going to Hoover.
Didn't know he was that 33rd president off the top of my head.
I thought 33rd president or the 33 signature names for the petition.
Is that how many he got, was 33?
I think it was implied that's how many.
Okay.
I didn't pause to count every single head, but those are the only numbers I could think of for the relevance of 33.
Yeah, I didn't get anything for the relevance of 33.
But other than that, fun episodes.
It was.
A lot of reveals.
Yes.
Where can everyone keep following you and talking about Manhattan?
Please tweet me. I'd love to hear. At Alina Vission. That's ALINAVISSION.
And you can follow me on Twitter at Serafini TV. You can follow all of us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all those fun platforms at AFTERBUZZ TV. Please rate, comment, subscribe. Leave your reviews and theories of what's happening in Manhattan Project.
We want to hear your predictions
of the Los Alamos. Can people get off their high horses? And let's see some bombs.
Yeah.
Let's see some just explosions. Just even failed tests. I'll take that.
I'll take any day.
All right. So thank you everyone for listening, and we will be back next week.
Yeah. Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.